There. We're recording the meeting. Thank you. I'd like to start the meeting, call it to order, and ask everybody to stand for the pledge of allegiance. Al, lead us, please.
I pledge
Allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the United
of the
States
States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
indivisible.
one nation,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
justice for all.
Sorry about that.
That's
that was
okay.
a little through there.
That's okay.
We'll just go with you. You're the leader.
Oh, no.
Okay, Pam, if you please call the roll.
Okay, Aram? Yes. Cousins?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Griffin?
Yes, I think the remote participants need to say what
Yeah,
Kamala?
the remote ones need to say where they're from.
Donna?
Oh, I'm remote from Alma.
Alma.
Paul Cousins, you
Yeah,
forgot.
I'm remote from 76484 Forest and Dexter.
On the computer, hit the got it button.
Yeah, it's not showing on the screen.
Just do the,
Oh, there you go.
there you go.
There we go.
Thank you, sir.
Hubbard? Here. Michelle?
Remote from Dexter, USA.
Keo?
Yes, here, present. Thank you, Pam. Okay, item C is approval of the meeting minutes from our regular city council meeting of December 13th. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Griffin. Thank you, Jamie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Donna?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Thank you. Griffin, any comments on the minutes?
I was just wondering if I could modify the paraphrase of my council comment there. I read a written statement, and so maybe I'll just read back to you 2 sentences from that, and then it could be put in that council comment instead. So the part I'd like to show up in the comment that says, "We all come to this table with different perspectives, and mine is that my loyalty lies first with residents. It is their hard-earned tax dollars that are paying for this show, and I hope to always review city expenditures with a critical eye based on that fact." If you'd like, I can send it to you, or I guess watch back on the video, whatever would be easiest, but that's what I was thinking.
Okay. I was gonna say, maybe you could tell me where it is in your note, and I could just copy it really quickly.
Yeah, sure.
You're editing your council comment.
I'm editing my council comment, so that would.
Adding to
So
what's
your
there.
council, so you're editing what's already written in the packet?
Yeah, just swapping
I see.
out your paraphrase with that. Those sentences. So that's on page 8 under N.
Any other comments?
No.
Donna, any comments on the minutes?
No.
Other council members, Zach, Paul, Was, and Am, any comments on the meeting minutes? Okay, we have one change to the meeting, or one addition, I guess, to the meeting minutes. All those in favor, well, I guess I have to call the roll. Pam, please call the roll to approve the minutes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Cousins,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Rob, yes, Keo.
Yes, thank you. Meeting minutes are approved. We have no prearranged participation this evening, so we're down to item E, which is approval of the agenda. Is there a
I move
motion?
we approve the agenda as presented.
Moved by Fisher, thank you.
Support. Cousins.
Okay, second by Cousins. Thanks, Paul. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, please call the roll to approve the agenda.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Rob, yes, Griffin,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Cousins,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Keo.
Yes. Thank you, Pam. The agenda is approved. We're down to the declaration of conflicts of interest. Do we have any conflicts of interest this evening? Zach, I think you probably want to say something, right? I see your hand.
Yep, I cannot participate in the consent agenda because both those items involve potential compensation to my employer for services rendered.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other conflicts to declare? Okay, seeing no other conflicts, we will move to public hearings, which we have none under item G. So item H is non-arranged participation. Looks like the chief might have his hand up. Chief? Or is that the cursor? That is the cursor. It's gotta be the cursor.
I don't-
Yeah, okay, yep. Okay, Dan, anything, you're not gonna say anything on a non-arranged, are you?
No.
Okay, so we'll go none for non-arranged participation. Communications, we have our meeting list on page 11 of the packet. Any comments or questions on the meeting calendar? Okay, no comments. All right, we are down to our first report this evening, Dan. Item J1, Public Services Superintendent, welcome. Thanks for coming on holiday.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and I'm gonna wish you a Happy New Year. I provide you with a 2-week report. Is there any questions?
I just want to thank you for talking to the builder about the road closure and signage when they need to.
This-
Appreciate that.
This is the 3rd time. We met with all of them individually before they started.
Okay,
So we're gonna stay on it. And then if there's anybody sees anything in West Ridge when they're doing things with no signage or blocking the road, please contact us and we'll go out there and try to remind them. How we do things around here.
appreciate it. Thanks.
No
I
problem.
just saw the note. Wanted to know. Any questions for Dan?
I have a quick question, Dan.
Yeah.
If we get any questions from citizens about the ice rink, just because I feel like I've seen some comments about that online. I mean, obviously, we can't do anything if it's not gonna freeze, right?
Right.
So,
I think that we used to, and I'll ask for Justin's help, we used to send out emails, when it was open and when we have it closed.
okay,
But like you said, right now is a tough time of year because it's cold one day and then it's warm for 3.
Right.
And it's kind of difficult.
okay,
All right.
thanks.
And then they can also call up to the city office or send an email to it. We'd be more than happy to help.
Sean,
Yes.
actually, on that item, yeah, we do pretty regularly receive contacts about the ice rink until it is open. And we do send out email updates and Facebook notifications when it is open. To my knowledge, we haven't gotten any so far this year, but I also wasn't in the office the last 2 days that we were open. But typically, yeah, once it goes up, then the questions start coming in about when is it going to open? So.
Okay, thanks, Justin. Other questions for Dan on the report in the packet? Yeah, anything to add?
We had a water break at Ann Arbor and Baker Road Thursday. Eric and Tim handled that quite well. I was off with family. But we couldn't tell whether it was our service line on our side of the shut off or not. So we ended up calling the contractors. We ended up, talking to the property owner and saying, look, we'll get the contractors here, we'll get this fixed. But if it's on your side, you're gonna have to pay the bill, which the landlord, the owner was cooperative with that. I think it's a lot easier if you don't know what you're doing to have somebody from the city help with them, some types of things.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end up paying the bill and then Mr. Wall's gonna reimburse the city. It's a little low right now yet. That ground's gonna take time to settle, but as it settles, we'll get back in there, put topsoil on and take care of it.
Sounds good. Thanks for reporting on that. Last chance for questions for Dan. Thank you, Dan. We also have a report from our community development manager, which I think is just in the packet tonight. Is that correct, Justin?
That's correct. Yep, just a report in the packet. We also didn't have any supplements for this packet. So what you see is what you get, and if anybody has any questions, I can always send them over to Michelle and send out the responses a little later.
Okay, Ms. Griffin?
Yeah, so regarding the, I know it's part of the consent agenda, the staffing support. it's mentioned in Michelle's report, so I thought I would just ask for clarification here. So it's an amount not to exceed $6,000. Do we know how much time that gets us? I mean, I'm guessing, that's what you proposed, so I'm guessing you think that's adequate. I'm just curious how much time that gets us.
Yeah, so actually, at this point, we don't know exactly how much time we're anticipating. It's going to be kind of a play it by ear thing, because it's going to depend a lot on Michelle's family dynamics and how things work out as far as how well the birth of her grandkids goes, and coordinating with other relatives to have people there to support her daughter and her daughter's husband as they work through the first couple of weeks of parenthood, and how much they want Michelle there. The challenge is that, because we have not been able to fill the assistant planner position, if Michelle decides to take, 2 weeks off straight in order to go visit her family and be with her daughter and grandkids, that puts us in a little bit of a bind as far as our ability to serve the public and assist with planning services. And we don't want to end up in that bind. We want to make sure that we're being proactive and have someone available when needed.
So do you know the hourly rate for CWA? Like, I guess I didn't need to know necessarily how long Michelle's gonna be out, but how many hours of support does that get us? $6,000.
So the hourly rates are included in the agenda item, or in the proposal in the packet.
I must have missed that.
If I remember correctly, it would get us about 6 full days, or 6 or 7 full days of support, with someone being in the office for a full day. We may not need that. We may only need, some time here, some time there, depending on how busy things are through January and the first part of February. So it's gonna, number one, it's gonna depend on what kind of time she takes off, and number two, how busy we are on the planning side during those weeks.
And your assistant starts in January, right?
That's correct. Yep. The assistant to the manager starts on the 4th, January 4th. But there's also going to be some time getting him up to speed on things as well.
Okay, thank you.
Donna?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Jamie that, Jamie, we did this once in the past, and I remember feeling like, oh my Lord, this is going to cost $1 million. And there was Laura, and we didn't have any outside applicants or anything like that. It was really relatively inexpensive, and we were well covered. So that may help. That's a little bit of history for you.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, Donna.
I'm all done.
Thanks, Donna.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment, we're clearly down staff, I mean, with the retirements and open positions. So.
Yeah, the new year is going to be interesting. We're currently short 2. We fill 1 after the new year, and we also lose 1 after the new year in the office. So we're still going to be busy on the human resources side of things, trying to get those positions filled.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you had covered those questions, since it is a consent item, so appreciate that. Okay, seeing no further questions on Michelle's report, we do have a written report from the county sheriff's office in the packet. Are there any comments or questions on that report? Seeing none, we'll move down to city manager report. Justin?
I don't have a lot else for you. The ice rink is up. We're waiting for it to freeze. You all know about what happened with my family, and you're up to speed on Michelle's family. So I don't have much else for you.
Okay, questions for Justin? I just have one. Justin, how long do we typically leave the holiday stuff up?
So if I'm not mistaken, we usually leave it up through mid-February.
Okay. I thought it was both messages. Okay, very good. Okay, I will move down to my report. Basically, I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Thanks for having a full board here on the 27th. Everybody have a good Christmas. Any questions for me? Okay, we have one council member report from Ms. Griffin.
Thanks. Yeah, so my goal here, I guess I had a couple of goals. The topic of my survey has come up a couple of times in the past year. And as I mentioned during our last conversations, I had some additional comments I wanted to share at one time, and I did not share them. And I also had some more thoughts I wanted to share last meeting that just didn't get shared, given how the conversation unfolded. So I kind of took bits and pieces of both of those statements and put them together. And so primarily it's a goal to document some thoughts that I've had over the past year about this. I hope you can see where there's like blue text and I don't know, reddish text. Those are clickable links in the original document. I don't know if there's a way, I don't know if in a PDF we can have clickable links. Anyways, if anybody's interested in what I was trying to link you to, I'm happy to share that with you or somehow include that somewhere else. I think mostly what I wanted to emphasize is something that I've been thinking about for a while. I know it's sort of been like hinted at in past meetings, is an idea of a city-sponsored, citywide survey, much like one that was conducted back in 2011. And I think it would be a great way to, another piece of information that we could have available to us as we set goals and objectives and funding priorities for the next fiscal year. And so my plan all along has been to put together a draft of something, even sort of methodology plan. I think it would be, again, much like other city surveys, they use SurveyMonkey and anyways, I am happy to, my plan always was to even go ahead and draft questions. I'm open to any input. People don't want to do it that way, that's fine too. But my plan was to bring back a more formal proposal with additional details, hopefully at the first meeting in January, just so we can start that process. So this is not necessarily meant to be a major discussion item on that specific point. I would ask that we can have that discussion or consideration in January, but I just wanted to highlight that.
As the first of the year comes around, I'm going to be asking Justin to help set our goal setting meetings, which you'll recall we did in January and February of last year. So we'll be throwing some dates out to do that. Perhaps, I don't mind if it's on the council meeting either, but definitely could have it as part of a full setting workshop to figure out what kind of questions we want to ask and get input from everybody. If that would be okay.
Yeah, wherever you guys think it would fit best, I'm happy to share it there.
And I'm thinking again that we would do our goal setting session hopefully on a Saturday morning. Usually the winter months are not that busy for everybody, or typically aren't. Justin, get some dates out to everybody, next week.
Hello.
John, somebody is speaking.
Yeah, this is Paul. I'm sorry, I got cut off from my computer, and that's why I dialed in. So I'm here on my phone.
Okay, Paul, thanks. Okay, any further questions for Jamie or anything more that you would like to say? I appreciate the idea.
No, thank you.
Okay, we're down to item K, which is our consent agenda.
I move we approve the two items listed on the consent agenda, bills and payroll in the amount of $276,948.66 and the proposal from Carlisle Wortman for Community Development Department staffing not to exceed $6,000.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fisher. Is there a
You're
second?
welcome.
I second.
Second by Sanan, thank you. Yeah, if you would please call the vote to approve the consent agenda, Zach will be abstaining.
Arad,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes,
Griffin.
Yes.
Cousins,
Yes,
Keel.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. We have no unfinished business this evening and no new business this evening. So we're down to item N, council comments. I'll start with Ms. Fisher online, if that's okay.
Happy New Year, everyone. See you in January.
Thank you, Donna. Mr. Cousins.
I'll say the same thing, and hopefully next year will be a better one than this year.
Thank you, Paul. Zach?
Yep, just could staff confirm that as of January 1, we won't be able to participate remotely unless we're in active military service or due to medical condition?
So actually, it is only military service.
Only military service.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, but we can still allow public to participate if we so decide.
Correct.
All right,
Yeah, actually, the Open Meetings Act is silent on the public being able to have two-way communication with council through a electronic medium. But my thought is that we're probably more likely to get sued if we don't let people participate virtually versus if we do let them participate virtually. So.
Mhm.
all right. I suppose the one thing is I am a little disappointed there wasn't anything for the fire station. I know no one likes to talk about it, but if we wait a month every time between talking about it, we're on course for 6 or 7 years before we can get to a decision point. That's all.
With that? Wow,
Nothing, thanks.
okay. So now,
Yes, thank you. I have a couple comments to make. And, I know that we wanted to take or keep this meeting as short as possible, so I'll keep my comments brief. I was in that spirit, as was hoping and disappointed to actually see the report from Ms. Griffin in this packet instead of January packet. But since it is introduced in this packet, and there were a few key points, especially regarding my agenda item of last meeting that is clearly misrepresented. I would like to clarify those points, especially because unfortunately the meeting of last time was not recorded, so I could not just refer to that and post it for everyone to see, and hopefully for Ms. Griffin to refresh her memory. In multiple places and occasions, since December 13th of our last meeting, there has been a question of my intent about my agenda item and attack on First Amendment. I think one thing that maybe Ms. Griffin didn't know or forgot, that I come from a country that First Amendment does not exist. I come from a country that the words of citizens are persecuted by their government every day. And that's the reason I'm in this country. Also, swearing to protect the Constitution of the United States did not happen first for me for serving in this capacity. I did that as an adult consciously when I became the citizen of this country. And that's a point of pride in my life and a decision that it's a very proud decision for me. So I serve this country because it welcomed me, and I serve it fully and protecting all of its constitution. What I wanted to say in my agenda item was that the goal was to make sure that when we make comments as individual council members, we say that we make comments as individual council members. I did that last Saturday, December 18th, when I was on Dexter Forum and the only council member there, and I had 2 questions for me about agenda items on the council, not my agenda item, but other items on the council on the agenda. So I made my comments, I gave what was the facts of the decisions we made and the conversations we had. And every time I gave my opinion, my thought, or my view, I was very clear to say so, because I was going back and forth and I did not want any confusion with anybody about it. So being able to have a disclaimer on our surveys that says, this is me, instead of this is the council, is not an attack on First Amendment. our city council rules tells us when we can talk or how we can talk. If those are also approved and voted on, they could be seen as infringement on First Amendment because it tells us how we can talk or how we should present ourselves. My only goal for that agenda item was that we know and we tell people when we say things as ourselves or as a council. The proposal I said, which there were only parts of it spoken and very easy to misunderstand and misrepresent, was that I wanted to make it easy if council wants to have a language that is the language of the disclaimer, that we all can copy paste and make our lives easier. The same way that a council rules tells us some things that helps us to refer to and makes our lives easier. So it was very disappointing to see some of the things coming up in these. And it was also very disappointing to see a 2-page tirade on social media attacking not only that and misrepresenting that, but also what I had said as a citizen, which, going back to First Amendment, as a citizen, I had the right to give feedback to my representatives on the council. So seeing that being attacked by a council member for the words I said as a citizen was very disappointing. I know that Ms. Griffin told me that she uses her social media as a not a way to communicate with council members, but as a spot to share her thoughts. But it is a public place. And as I told her, I respect her position as a council member not to get into a social media war with her. But I did want to make these comments, and I apologize that, again, it is meant for this meeting because it has been multiple times that what I brought as a simple agenda item to make sure that we are clear on our communications is now seen as me wanting to attack anyone's First Amendment rights. On that, I appreciate a couple of minutes and Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you, Sanam. Jamie?
Yep, I'll just note that I think carefully about the statements I make in public and in private, and I stand behind everything I've written and said. And thanks to Zach for the reminder about the fire station. I will have my thoughts about the guidance principles for our next meeting.
Okay, we are back around to non-arranged participation. Anyone in the audience want to speak this evening? Anyone online want to speak under non-arranged? Okay, we are down to item P, adjournment. I will seek a motion for adjournment, please.
Maybe include comments for us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
I
say-
thought we started on Happy New Year's. Not that important, but.
Thank you for reminding me.
There's no way.
Karen?
Hope everyone's had a good holiday and Happy New Year's, everyone.
Thank you both. My apologies.
I move we adjourn.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
I
Is there a
support.
second? Second by Sanam. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
You as well.
New Year.
Thanks, Justin.